everybody, welcome aboard. Psychedelic here. Got 3 albums for you this Sunday afternoon. Got the 2 latest releases from RidingEasy label. And then we're going to talk about this first one here from Seeking the Thread, Dom. He had an auction this past Sunday and just decided to drop by for the first half and picked one up from there. So I'm going to talk about that one. I think he was selling off his reissues. Maybe got inspired by Vinyl Stockholm, who's been making some headlines in the community. Talking about his manifesto about how he's just, a collector of the originals out there, and definitely respect that mantra, man. I'm not quite there, but definitely respect it. And I'll probably brush on a little bit like where I stand on the whole spectrum as well. Just a different playing field, but we'll talk about it a little bit. But yeah, he was selling his reissues last Sunday, and when I heard it was the starting bid of $10, I was like, I'll be there. And even though this one wasn't $10, I still, contributing to his channel in a way. But I saw the spreadsheet of what he all had available, and even though there was some interesting reissues out there, I wasn't too desperate to pick these up, I guess. Maybe down the road I'll pick them up, but didn't see anything where I was like, I need to get this one. But took a chance on this because I was a little fuzzy on, as a whole of how this one sounded, even though I knew some of the poppier cuts. It's kind of nice to get reevaluated with this one. This is a Passing Fancy. It's a reissue on the Lion Productions label. It came out in 2016. We just talked about that with the Plastic Cloud entry. This originally came out on the Boo Records label, which I think was a sub-label of Columbia. Is that right? And this one definitely feels like a lot of A's and B's of singles they produced, because this really is just that, despite a few tracks, I think. And it definitely feels like that. There's kind of this odd charm about this. It doesn't really have like a consistent flow as far as like feeling like a sort of LP. It's more just like a collection of songs. But overall, the individual tracks are still good. I'd say the first 4 are pretty big standouts. I'm Losing Tonight, which the single is actually probably better than the one on here on the LP. It's got some extra fuzz leads in that one. And then move on to A Passing Fancy, which might be my favorite off here. Love my harmony work. It's got some good harmonies, some good pop hooks. Pretty simple. All the way up until She Phoned. Dips in quality a little bit for me. They start doing some bubblegummy kind of, beat music sort of things. And then you got I Believe in Sunshine, which follows in that suit. And then you got Your Trip. Under the Bridge is pretty good as well. And then they do a cover version of People and Me by the Music Machine. They played in large clubs and high schools around the area. I think they formed in like the mid-60s up until they disbanded around 69, shortly after this came out. And yeah, so that's really what it is. To me, it feels more like a collection of songs more than anything. Not necessarily like the studio album we always think of when we listen to those kind of things. But yeah, still very pleased with the outcome. I wouldn't call the trip meter, overboard on this one, but it's certainly of that time period. And they're kind of going for a more straightforward kind of pop approach. Even though there are maybe a couple trippier moments. You got tracks like, I'm Losing Tonight. Gets a little garagey, but, You're Going Out of My Mind, Your Trip. So they definitely, they're definitely trying to hit those airwaves a little bit. And I think this is replicated pretty much just like the original, as far as I can tell, all the way up into the label. And yeah, so this is kind of a nice to revisit this one. Kind of like that Boo label. It's like a white label promo almost. But as far as like where I stand on the reissue versus originals, to put it simply, as long as I can afford the originals, and it just depends on what the particular album is, I'll try and seek it out the best I can. And I'm always looking to upgrade down the road if originals like drop in the shop, I had no idea I was going to upgrade to an original July on Epic or CAC on Epic, just once those things kind of drop in person, and I have like enough to you know, trade into the shop over time, and they are typically reissues, I can get away with it, you know. So I just take advantage, and I'm like, all right, let's jump on this thing. But I'm always for reissues too. I mean, sometimes they don't always sound better, and vice versa. You know, some originals don't sound as great in my opinion. And then you got a lot of archival releases, stuff that you can only get like through Numero Group, or, you know, I'm thinking of A Lovely Sight by Pisces, or, you know, even the one I'm going to show today, Parchment Farm. Stuff that's still coming out, still being unearthed. I'm sort of half and half when it comes to that stuff, you know, half original, half reissues that I got in the shelves. And, you know, it's all about the music for me, and first and foremost. And I'm for the people that are collecting all originals. I mean, more power to you. As long as you're not a snobby dick, then we're okay. Because there are certainly a lot of people out there like that, and in particular overseas, is what I found out. But it comes with a little hype sticker here. And sorry, Dom, I took it off the shrink. That's what happens when it comes over here, though. Take the reissue shrink off. But, and that's another whole topic, too, you know. You keep the shrink on or off. Just depends on what the piece is, you know. And oftentimes originals, I'll keep it on unless it's deteriorating or falling apart, you know. We can collect how we want to collect, and if someone tells us otherwise, you know, why? Why are you even trying? We've got the two here from RidingEasy. I'm really excited to talk about this one. This is one that, you know, the more I listen to this, the more I love it even more. This is pretty recent here from RidingEasy. I think this came out in like May. Parchment Farm. Self-release. Basically, sessions that were recorded in like early 72, it claims on the back. It definitely sounds like that, you know, late 71, 72-ish. And this band goes back to like 1968. They formed in, you know, outside of St. Louis, Missouri, kind of a small suburb area, like in the rural part, west of St. Louis, I should say. And this is great stuff, man. Like, this is this kind of stuff that I would have gone bonkers for as a kid. I love finding the stuff that just really is bombastic, loud, heavy, in your face, but done right and not too bluesy. And this is a perfect example of that. There might be hints of blues here and there naturally, but this is definitely more hard rock centered. And boy, this thing rips, man. And, you know, releases like this too, coming from labels like RidingEasy or, you know, even Gearson sometimes, you know, they'll find something that's unearthed and maybe originally sounded really weak, had like demo quality kind of stuff. And sometimes I kind of veer right of that stuff because, like, the sound quality does matter to me. But I do like it kind of rough and raw, but not too much, not like that Stooges RSD live album, Live at Ugano's. That thing is unlistenable to me. But it kind of sounds like demos, but it's still very listenable, and it's still at least mixed a little bit. And but it kind of sounds like it's coming off of like a tape reel at the same time. It's got that kind of warm, saturated sound, a little warbly, but not bad. And this thing fucking rips, man. This is so good. Yeah, Mr. Bizarre was playing this on live stream, and the track that convinced me to pick this one up on the B-side, Blind Man. That is the song that reeled me in, man. I was like, damn, this is so good. That track in particular, I love how it's got these kind of early progressive moves. Still hard rock based, but it goes from like these slow, doomy kind of riffs, and then goes to like this really energetic, fuzz wah ridden, like wall of feedback. It's so good, man. And then on side A here, we got the track Songs of the Dead, which was featured in the latest trip of the Brown Acid compilations. 18 trips. Wow. I don't know if I can collect them all. I mean, I do have my favorites over the others. Like, I think the 12th trip, if I remember it right, that's probably my favorite one that I might pick up. But yeah, man, definitely listen to this. It's definitely on streaming. And I think it's got some bonus tracks. It came with the bonus pamphlet here, kind of promoting their other titles. QR code on the back, and yeah, got the lyrics on the back too to talk about their story. So very cool. And they also played with like Velvet Underground at the time when they're coming through Missouri, Brownsville Station, Ted and Amboy Dukes, ZZ Top, Brian Auger and Trinity, just to name a few. And they definitely had some like lineup changes. I think this was like the third lineup change once they became like a trio. And you can definitely tell, I'm pretty sure they got this name from the Blue Cheer song, well, which was a cover, but they were definitely in that mindset of thinking Blue Cheer. And if you guys love that stuff, you know, that early heavy fuzz, heavy psych trio stuff from the late 60s era, I think you'll love this one. It's very backwoodsy, it's very stoned, it's excellent. This is really good, man. I'll show the labels here. Kind of basic. We got the RidingEasy on the back. Okay, and this next one, this is the other one from RidingEasy I picked up on. I was a little bit on the fence about purchasing this one, and I'll explain why. So get ready, put your hot takes hat on, and hear me out. So we got Fraction Moonblood. Finally picked this one up. This is the black vinyl reissue. This is one that I definitely pre-ordered. I felt to myself, well, these are probably going to sell out. Of course, you got that red die cut cover or the red tint. And my nitpicky thing with these, it's like, you know, I get that they're expensive to make, and you know, the pre-orders are going to cost you a lot. It was like $60 with tax and everything. And you know, you couldn't even put it in like a original master sleeve. It came in this, which to me right away, like this kind of cardboard is going to scratch the vinyl. So I don't know why we couldn't have it in like a sleeve like this, or like the one with Parchment Farm. But I did the swaparoo, so anyways, a little bit of a hot take there. But otherwise, this came out pretty well. You know, replicated pretty well like the original copy. 200 pressed, not really looking for an original at all. And I know for the longest time these were out of print, these reissues, especially like the Mexican City, and I think our Karma reissued this one too. And yeah, so only 5 tracks, you know, and only lasts about a half hour. And this one kind of gets a little, for me, you know, some people might say Pet Sounds is overrated and such like that. And I think this one does get a little hyped, a little too overhyped for me. Even with the hype sticker, you know. 1971 Heavy Psych Holy Grail, officially reissued for the first time in over a decade. And yeah, it sells for 4 figures. I don't think it's that great, okay? I like the whole lore behind it. I love that it's like a, you know, bummed out Christians doing heroin, doing hard drugs, you know, converting to Christianity and what have you. But I like the sort of torturedness of this. But musically, does it stand up? I don't know. It's definitely a grower. I've learned to appreciate this one a lot more than I have in the past. And a lot of it for me was just like the vocals. Like I could not stand those snarling vocals, this kind of Morrison try hard kind of thing. And I just thought some of the drumming was off, and just some of the mix was not that great, but maybe that's the whole charm, you know? And maybe I'm off my rocker, maybe I'm missing something. But, you know, we all have opinions. I'm going to share mine, whether, you know, people don't agree or not. But I don't, you know, you can like this if you'd like, but I think some people are kind of with me, it sounds like, when it comes to just the music presented here. A lot of jamming, though. You got tracks like Come Out of Her, which has got some great, like, dueling fuzz-wah leads on there. It's pretty overdramatic in some spots. My favorite track is probably still Suns Come to Birth. I think is a really good, well-written track. But the fact this was like recorded in all 3 hours, it was like a 3-hour session one day. It's pretty rad for sure. I don't know. I guess just my only critique is it's like, I guess early on I always imagined this would sound like a lot heavier, or like not so much heavier. It's pretty heavy, but like a little more upbeat. I wasn't ready for this kind of slow, brooding sort of thing that it was doing. I wanted more like Blue Cheer kind of energy, and this is kind of more like a stoned out, Christian slanted hard rock bass that they're coming from. You know, I love the concept of it all, but I still wanted to pick this up regardless. And I think the LP experience did help a little bit. It helped me out, you know, sort of adjusting to why this gets lauded over the years, and why it has certainly become an Acid Archive classic of sorts, you know. I mean, the pictures in the first few pages of the Acid Archive, and it's also featured in the Paul Major book. So it's certainly a very grand discovery back in its day, but you know, people like a lot of things for different reasons, and for me, it's kind of on the lower end of like 4 out of 5 stars. I mean, I've definitely pushed over the boundaries now, but that's sort of my take on it. You know, it's not to piss anybody off or anything. It's just where I stand on it. So even though it does have some cool characteristics, and you know, the whole vibe this record gives off, sort of like one of those cult records, is appealing, and I think for that reason, that's kind of why I like it. But I will say, you know, overall, I'm not going to listen to this all the time. That's all I'm trying to say here. I could go on and on and on about it. Still very glad to own it. And I think, they're only limited to like 500 copies in black. So that's about where it's at for today. So hope you guys checked out my live stream this past Friday. It was one of the best DJ sets I've ever had, man. It's kind of bouncing off this other DJ at the show, and kind of had this whole idea of like psych versus soul. So maybe we'll rebrand it and call it Funkadelic. Just an idea. Yeah, I'll leave it in the intro of this video so you guys get a little taste of what that was like. And I'm kind of surprised that YouTube has kept the video up. You know, the stream definitely got suspended because of the copyright violation, but I'm able to trim segments out and mute some segments, so I can still keep the video up, thankfully. But of course, the YouTube police, I figured they'd come along pretty soon, so what can you do? But yeah, we'll leave it with that. So thanks again for watching. Check these out, and we'll see you soon.